March 1986. Over the skies of Libya, two Soviet-made surface-to-air missiles tear through the air at Mach 5. Their target? An American reconnaissance aircraft flying at 80,000 feet, the SR-71 Blackbird. Normally, a pilot would evade, deploy countermeasures, or change direction. But the Blackbird pilot did something completely different. He didn't turn. He didn't dodge. He simply pushed the throttles forward. The engines roared. The aircraft accelerated, and within seconds, the missiles fell behind, completely harmless. But here's the part that still raises questions today. How fast was the SR-71 actually flying that day? Because the speed it reached is still classified. Officially, the top speed of the SR-71 Blackbird is Mach 3.2. That's about 2,193 miles per hour. This record was set on July 28, 1976, during a controlled test flight from Beale Air Force Base in California. The speed was verified by the Fédération Aéronautique Internationale. And even today, that record still stands for a jet-powered, air-breathing aircraft. But here's where things start to get interesting. Because when you listen to SR-71 pilots, read their memoirs, or examine declassified documents, a very different story begins to emerge. SR-71 pilots wore a patch on their flight suits that read Mach 3+, not Mach 3.2, not Mach 3.3, just Mach 3+. That little plus sign meant everything, because nobody outside the program was supposed to know the real number. In April 1986, the United States launched airstrikes against Libya after a terrorist attack in Berlin. After the bombing, the U.S. needed immediate damage assessment. Satellites weren't available in time, so they deployed their fastest reconnaissance aircraft, the SR-71 Blackbird. One of the pilots on that mission was Major Brian Schul. As the Blackbird crossed into Libyan airspace at Mach 3.2, alarms suddenly lit up inside the cockpit. The radar warning receiver detected something terrifying. Missile launches, multiple contacts. Libya had launched Soviet-made surface-to-air missiles. These weren't outdated systems. They were modern SAMs capable of speeds approaching Mach 5. The SR-71 had no weapons, no missiles, no guns. Its only defense was speed and altitude. Brian Schul pushed the throttles forward into full afterburner. The J-58 engines screamed. The Blackbird began accelerating even faster. Moments later, his reconnaissance officer calmly suggested he might want to pull the throttles back. That's when Schul realized something. They were covering 1 mile every 1.6 seconds. Do the math. That's roughly 3,600 miles per hour, well beyond the official Mach 3.2 limit. The missiles? They never caught up. The Blackbird simply outran them. So how fast could the SR-71 actually go? According to engineers from Lockheed Skunk Works, Mach 3.2 wasn't the aircraft's maximum speed. It was simply the safe operational limit. There were two main factors that prevented the Blackbird from going even faster. Engine unstart. At speeds approaching Mach 3.6 or higher, shock waves from the aircraft's nose could disrupt airflow into the engine inlets. This could cause an engine unstart. Imagine flying at nearly 2,500 miles per hour when suddenly one engine shuts down. The aircraft would violently yaw to one side. Pilots had to react instantly to stabilize the aircraft. Extreme heat. The second limit was temperature. At Mach 3, friction with the air heated the aircraft's titanium skin to more than 600 degrees Fahrenheit. The cockpit canopy could reach over 300 degrees Celsius. Even the air entering the engines became dangerously hot. The compressor inlet temperature limit for the engines was around 427 degrees Celsius. Beyond that, the engines could fail. The aircraft itself could begin to suffer structural damage. The SR-71 Blackbird was unlike any aircraft ever built. Nearly 85% of its structure was made from titanium. And here's the ironic part. Much of that titanium was secretly purchased from the Soviet Union through shell companies. Yes, America built its most advanced spy plane using Soviet metal. Another strange feature? The Blackbird leaked fuel on the ground, deliberately, because at Mach 3 speeds, the aircraft's titanium structure expanded dramatically due to heat. Panels literally grew in size during flight, so the fuel tanks were designed with expansion gaps. When the aircraft heated up in flight, the gaps sealed, which meant SR-71s often took off with fuel dripping from their wings. After takeoff, they would immediately rendezvous with a tanker aircraft for refueling before beginning the mission. So why is the real top speed still classified? The aircraft retired in 1990. You can literally see one today at the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum. Yet the exact maximum speed remains hidden. The reason is strategic. Knowing an aircraft's maximum speed reveals more than just performance. It reveals how far it could travel, how quickly it could reach targets, which enemy territories it could penetrate. With enough information, adversaries could reconstruct past reconnaissance missions. And there's another reason. Many of the engineers who built the SR-71 went on to develop new classified aircraft. The technologies pioneered by the Blackbird still influence modern reconnaissance systems. Revealing too much about the SR-71 could expose capabilities of current classified programs. During its operational life, the SR-71 flew more than 3,500 missions. It flew over the Soviet Union, North Korea, North Vietnam, Libya, Syria, the Middle East. More than 1,000 missiles were fired at SR-71 aircraft during the Cold War. How many succeeded? 0. Not a single SR-71 was ever shot down by enemy fire. When a missile launch was detected, the pilot simply did one thing: accelerate, and the Blackbird would leave the missile behind. The SR-71 Blackbird remains one of the most extraordinary aircraft ever built. Designed in the early 1960s, long before modern computers or advanced simulation tools. Yet even today, no operational aircraft has matched its combination of speed, altitude, and survivability. We know the official top speed is Mach 3.2. We know test flights reached Mach 3.4. Pilots have reported exceeding Mach 3.5 during emergencies. But the true maximum speed ever achieved? That number is still locked away in classified files. Maybe it was Mach 3.6, maybe Mach 3.7, or maybe even faster. And until those records are finally declassified, the real speed of the SR-71 Blackbird will remain one of aviation's greatest mysteries.